Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and welcome to the show, y'all. Check it out, y'all. Look here, the other day, I was talking to a person that works at the facility here, and they were new to prison as far as I knew. And they were talking about, gang members. Of course, they always want to talk about gang members. That's what they see on TV. That's what they hear in the news. That's what they hear in their training, so on and so forth. Like, so this individual said, man, what is it like being a gangster? Now, so first of all, why are you asking me that? You know what I'm saying? Don't be asking me all that kind of stuff, right? Because I'm not a gangster, right? And they said, well, I heard about you. I heard about your past. I heard about this. I heard about that. And that's one of the things you probably, you know what I'm saying, when you live the lifestyle, you know what I'm saying, even if you retire, some of you really never escape it as far as what people will say about you and the things that they've heard about you. You can't get away from that. You know what I mean? You can't erase it. You can't say it never happened and all this and that, right? But the individual, he made it clear that he wasn't asking me that to try to entrap me or get me in trouble or anything like that. He was curious about something that had happened at another facility. I think they go, these officers, they go all over the place training and stuff like that and helping out and doing all these different types of things. And he was interested in something that he had heard had happened, I think, at another facility or something that he had heard in general about gangsters, that he wanted a different view on it. He didn't want to just take the side of what the other officers that he works with were telling him, right? And I'm like, okay, be specific in what you're asking me, right? You know what I mean? Because there's some things, even though I don't participate in the lifestyle, I wasn't going to get anybody in trouble. You know what I mean? I'm not finna tell him like who's in charge of this, who's in charge of that. Go do your job. You feel what I'm saying? Go do your job. But if it's a question out of pure curiosity about some things that happen within the organizations and things like that, I have no problem talking about that, because you can go look on YouTube or TV or anywhere else and find out that information. But I guess he wanted to hear from somebody that had actually lived it. You know what I mean? So I said, what are you talking about, right? And he said, what's this going in the rack? Describe that to me. Why do people get put in the rack? Why do people put their own brothers in the rack? And what is this when somebody gets, called out, right? You know what I mean? When somebody call you out, right? What is all that about, right? So I was telling him, I'm saying, look, man, being a gangster, man, you have to always be ready. You always have to be on guard for certain things, right? And one of the biggest things that you have to be ready for is when you get, you have to get them up. That's basically what they call it. And, got to get them up. It ain't no if and a but about it, right? Somebody might call you out, or somebody might tell you that you got to, excuse me, or the OG might tell you, especially if you're a Crip or Blood or something like that, the OG might tell you, you got to get them up with such and such. You feel what I mean? It's just that on that, right? So I said, okay, let me tell him about this situation one time when this dude got put in a trick bag and got called out. You know what I'm saying? And he had to get him up, or he was going to get put in the rack himself. So I was basically being able to give him some information as far as insight about both of the things that he was asking about in one story, right? I didn't want to be dragging the story out, right? So this is what happened. It was this young dude, man, and he was fairly new to the compound. This was years ago when I was at another facility. And he was fairly new to the compound. He was cripping, you know what I'm saying? Good dude, though, you know what I mean, as far as that goes. And he had a reputation. He had been in a lot of fights at the county jail. He had knocked out a couple of guys. You feel what I'm saying? I don't know what happened. I don't know how it happened, this and that. But it was verified by some other people that were at the facility that he had hands. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people in gangs, like if you're new, and he was the new one to the Crips, right? And a lot of people, when you're new to the organization, they don't like when everybody's talking about you, especially when they're talking about you in that way, right? They want, the attention to be on them. A lot of people in organizations have self-esteem issues and self-worth issues, and they want it to be about them more so than about somebody else. Not because they just necessarily have a reason to dislike the other person. It's just that it's a manufactured reason. So anyway, this young dude, man, like I say, he had a reputation for having them hand, but he was a mild-mannered dude. He ain't going looking for it. If it come his way, he'll deal with it, right? So anyway, long story short, what happened was this dude was in the child line. And when he was in the child line, there was this one dude, man, he was a peon, you know what I'm saying? But he had a reputation too, right? He's not somebody that'll run from a fight. Nobody bothered him. He just didn't run. You know what I'm saying? He ain't going. You ain't going to take nothing from him or none of that kind of stuff. He likes this. He stands up. So he accidentally, from what I saw anyway, bumped into dude. And a lot of the Crip dudes, they seen it. Dude just turned around and looked at him, and then the dude that bumped into him said, "Excuse me, bro, my bad. I ain't mean to bump into you, right?" And he said, "Oh, ain't no big thing. Okay, cool." So they both turned back facing the way that you got to face to go get your tray. So they just proceeded to go get the tray. But here the Crips at the table looking at him. And then some of the Crips at the table said, "Man, what's up with that, man? How come he didn't go on and take care of dude, right?" They immediately started to size him up that he was weak or something like that, which he wasn't. It's just that that's what they saw. And they felt like, you know what I'm saying, he should have put in work right then and there, right? And makes no sense. It is what it is, right? So at the end of the day, it happened again with somebody else, and it happened again with somebody else. But Cuz was more into, he turn around, he look, see what's going on, and it wasn't nothing. Now, when I first came into the penitentiary, way back decades ago, over 3 decades ago, if somebody bumped into you, it was something to it. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how they tried you back in the day. They bump into you, or their hand accidentally touch you on the shoulder, where it's like, did this dude just get a cheek feel on me or something? Or they might accidentally touch your butt cheek or something like that. You're like, wait a minute, what's going on? And you had to put in work. This is before you had this explosion of gangs in this state anyway. You had to put in work because they were trying. And it was a lot of, back in the day, it was a lot of booty bandits running around. Now, you still got those guys today. You still got them today. And a lot of the booty bandits are gang members. It's simple as that, right? But these individuals that were bumping into him, or, life happens, were not that type of people. But these brothers of his, they was watching. And they didn't like how he was responding to it. And they felt as if, he need to respond in a harder way with these folks, man. We ain't going to let people be just touching us and bumping into us and ain't nothing happening. But they really wanted to see for themselves if the rumors were true. That's what that was about. So anyway, the OG get word of this. You know what I'm saying? And if the OG get word of something that's going on, it's going to be a problem because he's going to make you do something that you may not want to do. And if you don't do it, they're going to put you in the rack. Now, when they put you in the rack, when I say put you in the rack, I'm basically talking about, that's where you get disciplined. You know what I'm saying? You're going to get beat up. You're going to get beat up. You have to put in some work for real then. Because when they take you in that rack, they mean to hurt you. It's as simple as that. They mean to hurt you. So this young dude, man, he was told by one of his Crip brothers, man, look here, man, we don't get down like that. The next time somebody bump into you, accident or not, you put them down. Knock them out. Simple as that. So he bucking him a little bit. He said, man, but I'm not just going to be fighting all day, every time somebody bump into me or I bump into them or something like that. I'm not doing that. Oh, they didn't like that because he had something to say. They said, no, you going to do it or you going in the rack? He said, man, look here. If it's an accident, I'm not doing it. We're going to have to get them up. You know what I'm saying? Me and you or whatever the case may be, this, that, and the third. So, dude, they go back and they tell the OG what he said. Now, the OG's not getting the story in its full context. He ain't getting this full context. So he kind of throw it off. He said, man, if I say do this, that's what it means. So he tell him to bring dude to him. So he go sit with the OG and they talking and he telling the OG, man, it ain't even like that, man. I don't even know why this is a big deal. I don't know why I got to go in the room and fight somebody if they accidentally bump into me. I don't know why I got to get threatened to get put in the rack if I don't do it and all this and that, right? Now, the OG, he mild-mannered, but again, he's not that old either. He's not that old either. Now he's trying to make sure that he put on for the rest of the body. You feel when I say the body, I mean the rest of the membership. He trying to put on for the rest of the body. And at the same time, he trying to listen to the young dude because the young dude is making sense. So he tell him, look, man, it is what it is, man. If somebody bump into you, go on and knock them out one time, man. Bro, they probably just want to see what's going on. So that's when the little young dude, he gets some insight. This is about stunting. That's what this is. This is about stunting. You know what I'm saying? And he said, I don't get out like that. I don't be doing no stuff. He said, but okay, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you what it is. You know what I mean? So the next time somebody bumped into him, he started to figure out who was behind it, who was this one person behind it. And when he figured it out, he thought to himself, he said, I know what this is about. And here go the twist in the story. The dude that was really watching him and started all of these people in the body talking about he won't do this and he won't do that. His brother, which is a peon, is one of the dudes that he knocked out at the jail. Oh yeah. Now see, this personal. This ain't got nothing to do with the business. This ain't got nothing to do with this is personal. So once he figured that out, he said, oh, okay, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take care of my business. So the next time somebody bumped into him, right, man, the man turned around and popped it. And when he popped it sounded like a firecracker. I mean, it sounded just like a firecracker. Dropped it. One hit a quitter. Police run over there. They put him on the wall. They put handcuffs on him. They take him straight to the hole. Now he really pissed because he ain't never been in the hole. And your first experience in the hole, I don't care what nobody say. It is traumatic. Because when they take you over, as soon as you walk through the door, get naked. Strip you down, buck naked, make sure you ain't got nothing to go inside with or nothing. They making you open up your rectum. They looking all up under your feet. They making you open your mouth, move your tongue around, lick your tongue out, all of that kind of stuff. Looking in your ears, everything to make sure you don't have any contraband. Contraband is anything that you're not allowed to have in the penitentiary. Put him in the hole, give him 5 days in the hole for fighting. Now he laying in the hole, he pissed. Now let me show you how he flipped the game. Because when he got out of the hole, you know what I'm saying, he told the OG that he wanted to get him up with the brother that had started all this, right? Now the OG said, what you want to get him up with him for? You know what I'm saying? You took care of your business, everything straight. Everybody know you'll take care of your business. Let's move forward. He's like, nah. He said, nah. He the one got this started because I knocked his brother out in the jail. So now the OG feeling like he been manipulated. You know what I'm saying? So now the whole body is there. They getting together and then they asked dude, they said, look here, man. He get to fight with your brother at the jail. First he tried to play stuff with it, right? Now, you know, when you, if you've ever seen it, if you haven't seen it, let me describe to you. When you got a lot of gangsters together, I don't care what organization it is, right? When you got a lot of gangsters together and they feel like one of the individuals that's being questioned, you know what I'm saying, is not keeping it 100, whatever, whether it's for or against them. Look here, it's almost like a pack of hyenas surrounding a little bunny rabbit. Somebody wants some blood. And all of them is salivating at the mouth, ready to get him. So now they smell the fear. They see it on him. And then he finally capitulated and said, yeah, you know, him and my brother got to fight. You know, did he knock your brother out at the jail? Then he finally owned up to that. So the OG said, man, y'all two got to go get him up, man. And then we through with all this mess. So the young dude and the one that was spreading all these rumors about dude won't take care of his business, they go in the room. Now don't forget, like I told you, man, this young dude got these firecrackers, man. Got hands like fire. They went up in the room, and I'm talking about, he didn't knock him out. He could have. Man, he beat him. He beat him. Because he whooping him, and he ain't trying to knock him out. He want to hurt him. But he wanted to last. After about 5 minutes, man, look here, man. The dude that was spreading all in the room, he knocking on the door. Somebody help me. Get me up out of here. Dude in there beating him. Just talking to him. When they finished, the young dude knocked on the door, said, man, get this boy up out of here. Run him to the back. The body was like, man, no, you can't stay out here. You can't stay out here. Because he went in there and he embarrassed himself. Couldn't fight a lick. Couldn't fight a lick. So then they end up running him to the back. He ain't nothing no more. But I told the officer that, you know what I'm saying? And so he would get a better understanding. And while I'm talking to him, he's standing there eyes wide open looking at me like, what the? He's like, that don't even make sense. I said, none of it makes sense. None of it makes sense. But that's how it is. You feel what I'm saying? You asked and I told you. And I just wanted to share that story with y'all, right? Because, you know, I always want to emphasize that, you know, a lot of the decisions that we make, especially when it comes to the lifestyle, right? We think we know what's going on with it, and we think we know how it works. Sometimes, most of the times, y'all, most people in the organizations and gangs and stuff like that don't find out how it really works until after they're a part of it. That's the mystique of it. I've always said is the myth of what people see and hear about gangs is what attracts them to it, right? It's the reality traps that what traps them in it. You know what I mean? And so yeah, a lot of people joining these gangs and don't know what they're getting themselves into, but once you get in it, you're in it. And usually most of the times the way you get out of it, you get put out of it, you get beat out of it, or most people don't live long enough or last long enough to retire from it. So think about that when you want to join, or think about that when you got a family member that's in it. Think about what they might be going through and try to find a way to help them get out of it, which that's slim pickings too, right? Anyway, y'all, I just want to wrap that thing up. This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all.